2017 marks 50 years for the NILE Stock Show and Rodeo. The NILE has worked to preserve and embrace the Western way of life, and rodeo is a part of that mission. Now the NILE will salute the rodeo sport, the fans and volunteers that make the NILE Pro Rodeo what it is today. The Northern International Livestock Exposition proudly presents the NILE Salutes, celebrating 50 years of preserving and embracing the Western way of life. 1976 was the first PRCA rodeo held at the NILE. In the decades since, the rodeo has made an impact on many of those who are still involved in the NILE Stock Show and rodeo successes today.
The NILE Pro Rodeo has become a long-standing tradition with not only the contestants, but the local Billings residents and area residents that drive quite a distance to see the Pro Rodeo. But what that does is allows us to share some excitement about the industry. While they might come to the stock show and see the cattle show, if you don't understand it, there isn't that thrill factor. And we all know that the thrill factor sells. So we get to bring great cowboys, their equine partners, great bucking stock, and give people a chance to get excited about it, and then they want to come back and see the stock show and see what else they can see.
Well, 1976 was really memorable to me because I won the all-around for the Montana circuit by riding. This used to be the final rodeo of the year, and so I had to cover my bull to win that, and I did, and it was awesome. I've been with a lot of NILEs, and I'm the rodeo chairman. We have 12 booths here with Western Ranch Supply. I'm part of the horse committee, part of the rodeo committee. I've been a president of the NILE. It's a big deal to me.
When I was a kid and when I was in high school, they had a program through the rodeo where basically it was called the NILE Calf Scramble. And if you caught a calf during the rodeo performance, you got to keep it and then raise it and show it, and then you got to sell that the following year. And then when you sold that, those funds got to be used towards education. And so that was probably my first and main introduction was through raising and selling that steer. Then those proceeds then helped me to go on and go to college at Montana State University in Bozeman.
It means an opportunity for rodeo fans in this community not only to see world champions, but also see the next generation. Who's next? That's always the big question of when you watch a young kid. Is he going to be the next Dan Mortensen? Is he going to be the next Trevor Brazil? Or from this area, who's going to be the next Clay Tryon? And that's how the NILE has transitioned over the years.
Well, I came here as a kid watching it, of course, and then it's just cool. It's like I kind of consider it my hometown rodeo almost, because I live, kind of middle of nowhere. So I kind of consider it my hometown because I have a lot of people around here. And
for me, being able to bring stock to the NILE is a big accomplishment for my family. I've always come here and competed, and being able to see all of my cousins compete in all the different events.
Well, it's one of the big rodeos that kicks off the new year, in the PRCA, as far as the rodeo side of it. The timing of the NILE means a lot to me because back in the day with Harry Vold and myself, Gaddafi Skull won Horse of the Year and Bobby Joe Skull was Horse of the Year, and memories of us finding it out. Last night we found out that Craig at Midnight is Bareback Horse of the Year, so the timing of this rodeo for the new season and when all the awards come out, we would have a lot of fond memories of our stock doing well. When I rode saddle bronc horses, I was the first bronc rider to get on back in the 70s and ended up winning the NILE rodeo with all three. Well, back then there was 5 days, when rodeo. So I won it in the saddle bronc riding and then coming back as a stock contractor. So the history means a lot to me.
Well, it means America coming together. You think about agriculture, that's where it all began, and we salute the NILE, and I salute the NILE for preserving the Western way of life. It's depicted by the livestock shows, the rodeos. It's all about America and the West.
They may be rodeo athletes, volunteers, or fans, but it's plain to see the impact that the NILE has had on each and every one of them. On behalf of the NILE, I'd like to personally salute and thank you for making the NILE Pro Rodeo the experience that it truly is.
Well, thank you to Jennifer Boca and everybody at the staff. They've done a tremendous job over the years. I know they'll continue to do so.
I'd like to thank the NILE committee for having us here and putting on a great rodeo, and for the fans that show up. The crowds have been outstanding.
Giving me the opportunity to compete at it and be successful at it, and taking me to where I am today in my rodeo career. And it's I couldn't imagine where I am today without the NILE and what they've done for me.
Where the West comes alive, let's preserve it for the next 50. Congratulations to the NILE.